Ruger don't mess around with average wheel guns, they build tanks wearing the skin of handguns. And that GP100? That thing's a rolling slab of steel sitting on a 6-shot frame. But if you're thinking it's all just brawn and no brains, think again. Most folks don't know it, but the GP100's got its roots tangled up in a French police piece. And get this, Smith & Wesson once said it was built like a thick burger patty. Today on Firearm Zone, we're digging into why this bruiser ain't just overbuilt, it's proven in the field. We'll walk through how this thing was made to chew through .357 Magnum like it's candy, how it stacks up next to its competitors, and the downright unexpected places it's still being carried today. We'll also take a look at that triple lock-in cylinder, the no side plate frame, and why some shooters swear by it, while others say it looks like it rolled out to a busted toolbox. If you're keen on the GP100 or you just like a revolver that don't give a hoot about pretty, you'll want to stick around. Let's crack her open. Now, Ruger had already carved out a name building rock-solid single-action 6-shooters when they rolled out the Security 6 back in 1972. That double-action Workhorse marked Ruger's first big step into the lawman's side of the fence, where Smith & Wesson and Colt had long been top dogs with their Model 19, Model 66, and that old legend, the Python. Folks liked the Security 6 cause it was straightforward, built to last, and didn't cost a ranch to own. It came with a rugged one-piece frame, no side plate like them others were using. Even the U.S. Border Patrol issued it, and a few city outfits followed suit, though Smith & Wesson still had the lion's share of the pie. Ruger even took a stab at making 9mm versions of the Security 6, which raised a few brows cause most wheel guns back then stayed in the .38 Special and .357 Magnum lane. The 6 handled .357 fine, but it wasn't exactly made to chomp down on the hottest loads day in and day out. That weak spot is what pushed Ruger to think bigger and tougher. By the early 1980s, Ruger had their sights set on building a revolver that could live off .357 Magnum without loosening up over time. That mission gave us the GP100, which showed up around 1985. The frame got thicker, the top strap beefed up, and the cylinder got 3 lock-in points instead of just 1 or 2. That heavy underlug? It ain't just for show, it balances the piece and soaks up recoil. Anybody who ran a Security 6 could feel right off that the GP100 was heavier, bulkier, and felt like it was ready to take a beating and keep on barking with full house Magnums for life. Ruger also kept that transfer bar safety in the mix, which some folks say is a must-have for keeping their nerves settled. If you ain't pulling the trigger, the transfer bar stays clear of the hammer, blocking it from reaching the firing pin. That setup saved plenty of folks from accidents, especially them who carry with one chamber hot and the hammer down. Coil springs, a dropout trigger group, and that whole built like a tank mindset made sure this wheel gun wasn't just some flash-in-the-pan idea. It was built to stay. The Security 6 wasn't just the forerunner in spirit to the GP100. It also gave rise to a few lesser-known kin across the pond. Back in the late 1970s, French lawmen needed a dependable revolver that didn't cost an arm and a leg for daily carry. But their homegrown MR-73 was just too dang pricey to hand out like candy. The fix came through a partnership with Ruger, and that's how the Manurhin Special Police came to be. Built off Security 6 frames and Ruger's lockwork, but outfitted with barrels and cylinders made in France, the thing proved itself solid in French police ranks. That success pushed Manurhin to fine-tune the idea into what they called the MR-88, which ended up being made entirely on French soil. Meanwhile, back here in the States, Ruger took a different trail. They stuck with the bones of the Security 6, but beefed it up for a revolver that could truly handle hard use with .357 Magnum. The GP100 was the end result, a revolver that kept Ruger's knack for investment casting front and center. That method let him make a thicker, meatier frame without running up the cost like crazy. Even though the Manurhin MR-88 and the GP100 shared a common ancestor, they sure grew up different. The French version kept to a slimmer frame that felt a lot like the old Security 6 in the hand. The GP100, on the other hand, packed on more steel so it could take a real beating. Both of them show just how versatile the original Security 6 design turned out to be, whether you needed a no-nonsense duty piece for patrol work overseas, or a workhorse revolver back home built to gobble up thousands of hot rounds. Now, when some folks hear triple locking cylinder, they think it's just a bunch of slick sales talk. But on the GP100, it ain't fluff, it's the real deal. That setup makes dang sure the cylinder stays put when you're letting loose with full-throttle Magnum loads. Ruger first gave it a try with a front crane lock on the Red Hawk, then brought that same idea into the GP100. Locking the cylinder at the front, the rear, and down underneath helps keep things lined up just right, and that's mighty important when you're lighting off a stout round like the .357 Magnum. Now, some folks get uneasy if they feel a little wiggle in the cylinder after it locks up. But that bit of movement? It's normal. Back in the day, Colt's double actions would lock up tighter than a bank safe, but Ruger's design leans on the forcing cone to guide each slug into the bore. That touch of play actually helps it smooths out tiny misalignments between the chamber and the bore. And once you're holding the trigger back, the cylinder don't lock up any tighter, so no sense comparing it to older designs that ran a different game. Ruger stuck with this triple lock idea when they went on to build the SP101 and the Super Red Hawk. And time after time, it's shown that keeping the cylinder locked down in 3 spots goes a long way towards stopping wear and tear that eats away at weaker builds. The GP100's got a well-earned rep for staying strong even with a steady dose of Magnum thumpers. And that locking system is a big reason why. The Ruger GP100 was built with staying power in mind. One of its biggest strengths, and I mean that both literally and in terms of real-world use, is its solid one-piece frame with no side plate. Unlike them Smith & Wesson revolvers, which use a removable plate on the side to get at the guts, the GP100's frame is just one solid hunk of steel. That design cuts out a weak spot where flex or frame failure might crop up under heavy use. Ruger didn't keep that feature quiet either. They ran ads pointing right at the difference, showing off their full-frame GP100 next to the slimmer Smith & Wesson, making a clear case for the strength of their investment cast frame. Smith & Wesson, not wanting to take that jab sitting down, clapped back with their own cheeky print ad, this one showing a burger patty so thick it looked plain ridiculous. Their tagline? Thicker doesn't mean better or stronger, it just means bulkier. They figured their forged steel frames were just as tough, maybe tougher, without all the extra heft. Now, one more plus side to that solid frame, the whole trigger assembly can be popped out in one piece. That makes cleaning and tinkering easier for the hands-on folks. Sure, Smith & Wesson's got that classic look with their smooth lines and shiny finishes. But the GP100? That one's made for the rough and tumble. Some shooters prefer the lighter feel of a 686, and that's fair. But plenty love the GP100 for being a brute you can count on. Either way, it's tough to beat for a Magnum revolver that hasn't been through the ringer. When Ruger put this thing together, they did away with the usual grip frame and came up with a grip peg instead. That makes it simple to try out different grip sizes and shapes, so whether you've got bare paws or skinny mitts, you can get it feeling just right. Smith & Wesson offers choices too, but theirs are more tied to the frame's original shape. Ruger's peg setup, it's basically a solid anchor point. That means you can slap on anything from small rubber grips to big old target stocks. And it helps keep the frame strong where it counts, cause there's more steel left in place. Ruger's got a reputation for making firearms that take Magnum punishment like champs. And this grip system fits right into that mindset. You end up with a revolver that's dang near bomb-proof, but still comfy in the hand. That same design also makes taking the gun apart a whole lot easier. The GP100's trigger group lifts out as a single unit, which can be a lot less fiddly than prying off a side plate like on a Smith. Folks who like to keep their wheel gun spotless appreciate how simple the GP100 is to keep up. Between the comfort, the customization, and the rugged design, Ruger's got something here that really sets it apart from the rest of the pack. The GP100 ain't just some .357 Magnum workhorse. Ruger's chambered it in a whole mess of calibers: .327 Federal Magnum, 10mm auto, 44 special, even 22 long rifle. That lineup surprises folks who figure it's only built for one thing. The .327 model holds 7 rounds, so you get 1 extra shot compared to the standard 6. That's a real plus if you're partial to smaller calibers but still want decent punch. The 44 special version carries 5, which keeps the frame easy to handle while still giving you that bigger bore. The 22 long rifle variants got a 10-shot cylinder, perfect for plinking or teaching greenhorns, with little to no recoil. As for the 10mm version, it runs with moon clips to manage a rimless round usually found in semi-autos. That's handy for folks who already own a 10mm pistol and want a revolver to match. Through it all, the GP100 keeps the same design backbone that earned it respect in the first place. The frame don't change, and the cylinder still locks up like a vault. Ruger just saw a chance to build one revolver that could wear a lot of hats. Whether you're after a high-cap rimfire, a versatile .327 for your various .32 caliber loads, or a heavy hitter in .44 Special, there ain't many revolver lines that stretch this far. Sure, Smith & Wesson and Colt fans like to talk about the smooth lines of a 686 or a Python. The GP100's got a bulkier look that stirs up arguments. Some folks say it looks like what it is, a hard-as-nails tool made to take a beating. Others think it lacks the charm and grace you'd find in older designs, even from Taurus, which builds some throwback shapes folks enjoy. That big chunk of steel behind the cylinder and the thick underlug turn off some shooters. Ruger stuck to some design cues from the old Security 6, and while loyal fans like that, it doesn't win over everybody. Those factory rubber grips with the wood panels, they get mixed reviews too. Some say they're comfortable and eat up recoil real nice. Others think they look clunky next to the walnut grips you'll see on a Colt or a Smith. Ruger never tried to pass the GP100 off as a safe queen. It's a workhorse built for the long haul. Still, some folks come around to its looks. They say it's a revolver that shows its grit right on the outside. Others never warm up to it. But here's the thing, the GP100 doesn't have to win a beauty contest. It earns its keep through performance, so when someone calls it blocky, it don't matter much. When you're sending hot rounds downrange, function tends to trump looks every time. These days, semi-autos are what you'll find on most police belts, but the GP100's still seen some service with special units that demand rock-solid dependability. The Greek EKAM counter-terror team has used it, and that says a lot about a gun that doesn't jam or stovepipe when things get hairy. That same trust was earned by the Serbian Special Anti-Terror Unit. These folks deal in high-risk situations, and a revolver that fires every time is a serious asset. Up north in Canada, some local departments stuck with the GP100 long after others had moved to semi-autos. The big .357 or even hot-loaded 38+P gave officers good peace of mind. Ruger even built a version just for the New York Police Department, the GP-NY model. It came with a double-action-only trigger, which matched NYPD's regulations. Same rock-solid frame, just no single-action cocking, so every trigger pull felt the same. The fact that elite units and specialty teams still put their trust in the GP100 says plenty about how it performs. No, it won't outmatch a modern double-stack pistol in sheer capacity, but what it gives up in round count, it makes up for in rugged simplicity and no-fail reliability. It's a revolver that's proved itself in the real world, not just on paper or at the range. And that's a wrap on this breakdown. The Ruger GP100 ain't just a workhorse, it's a tank with a steady trigger finger. Born from the bones of the Security 6, built to chew through .357 Magnum like it's breakfast. And stacked with rugged features that don't know how to quit. Triple lock-and cylinder, no side plate, solid one-piece frame, grip peg, modular insides, and chambered in everything from .22 long rifle to .44 Special. This revolver don't care if it's restin' in a gun safe or riding in a duty rig. You can shine up a 686 all you want, the GP100 was made to run. Not stand there looking pretty. But hey, maybe we missed something. Got a tail, a tweak, or some oddball variant worth calling out? Let us know in the comments. Hit that like button, give us a subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next drop.